Everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to start off by using an example, okay, of what I'm going to talk about on one side of it. Okay, and this is it. It's a beautiful morning, and after some storms and bad weather, we're having a beautiful, beautiful morning. How about you? How's the weather there? I hope it's great. I hope you're doing great, and I hope the rest of your day is doing fine. Now, that's kind of pleasantries, okay? That's an example of pleasantries. These days, I mean, this is how I've always seen it for many years. You know, people, like if you run across somebody, you say that, or if you're online, this is, you know, how you started off. You know, some kind of pleasantries. Now, these days, what I see, and I've done this too, I'm not, not just as guilty, I'm a little bit guilty in doing this. What I see more these days, not just all of a sudden, but it's started getting this, to this point, is people start off like I have and just say okay, and then start in with whatever it is. Okay, but most often it's something like this. Okay, now this and whatever social media they're on, they're doing it again. They are trying to take, and then they start saying stuff like trying to take away our money, you know, our monetization, take away something from them. Whatever social media, you know, they're taking something away from it. They're changing something and it's messing it all up. Often it's that. The next thing that I've seen most often is usually something like they're trying to take away our freedom of speech. The next is something they're trying to take away our freedom of speech, and then it's all the liberals' fault. Or all baby boomers' fault. I've seen both of those. I've seen more than that, but it's always liberals. It's never conservatives or anything else. It's always liberals or Democrats or Democrats. Like I said, never anything else. And it's always baby boomers. They're at fault at everything, according to the people who are doing this. And it's like a movement, or it's become a cultural norm, even maybe. Yeah, it's just so often that I see this. I'm like, really? All or nothing thinking. It's always somebody else's fault. All liberals do this. No, they don't. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm not a person to pick a party. I don't claim to be to any political party, any political ideology. I think for myself. I have that, what I call freedom of thought. You know? Nobody's going to say, okay, if you're going to be this, you must be one or the other. Like I said, there's only two, there's more than two. But, and if you do, you have to think like this, and you have to support this, and you have to be this way, or you're not. No. That all or nothing thinking, all or nothing. No, I don't play that. I have freedom of thought. It's true freedom. Okay, now what I usually see is part of this that I'm saying is, it's like it's always a conspiracy. So, there's a difference there, you know, I'm trying to point out. It used to be a lot, you know, people start off with pleasantries. Now it's all conspiracies. So, I don't think that's a good movement. I don't think that's a good change from... Now I'm not saying some of the things that they're saying that are like conspiracies, that they're all false. But the thought of everything being a conspiracy and that it's always somebody else's fault, or a group's fault, or whatever. It's always their fault. Yeah, that brings about the doubt, big time. Okay, like I said, I'm not innocent in all this. I'm not real guilty. You know, I know the difference between, say, social theories and conspiracy theories. Yeah. Personally, I'm not a fan of corporations at all. I'm not a fan, but I don't say that all of them are bad. No. I'll say that if maybe I had a bad experience with one or this one or that one, but I'm not going to say that makes them all bad. I don't think like that. Anyway, but that's what I see more often these days. It's not all the time, of course, but it's so much of a conspiracy, like a conspiracy-minded, I guess, culture. Not of everybody, but yeah, I see this far too often, much more often than I ever have in my life. Seen it. And it's to the point of like paranoia that everybody's out to get them. Everybody other than what they are is out to get them. You know, that might be going a little bit too far. I wouldn't even say might be. I think it is. So, yeah. How about a little squirrel moment here? You see this in front of me here? Some of you might remember I used to sit here and make videos, and it was just all land. It was all no businesses or anything, and that's what it is. On the other side of this big long building, which I think the end of it's going to be a Aldi, and then these are small businesses, and then there's you can't see the Quick Trip over there. There's the Quick Trip right across the street from Racetrack. Yeah, kind of like CVS right across from Walgreens. But on the side of this building is another big, huge building they're building. Yeah. So there went all that land, and progress is going on here. Okay, although for some it might not be considered as progress, but it depends on how you see it. But anyway, thought I'd show that that Quick Trip. So now let's get back to the topic. The cell phone fell off the mount right then. At least it didn't capture that part. But anyway, no, the whole thing about all this is, yes, we have, you know, our theories. Some of them would see them as more of social theories. Some would see them more as conspiracy theories. But here's a question. What are you doing about them? What are you doing about, I'm talking legally, within the system, don't go outlaw, but what are you doing personally besides just complaining? Now, like I'm saying, I'm not totally innocent in all this myself. This is a lecture to myself. But no, I do take care of some things, and I'm telling you that I'm often seen as a bitch, because I do. I'm well aware of it. Well aware of it. Because my thought is, I used to complain, like if something happened, I would complain to a manager. Not anymore. I go straight to the corporate office and complain there. Because really, when the way I see it and the way I've seen it, is management takes up for their employees too often. Okay, instead of correcting their behavior, like what happened this past weekend, they know it's your fault. They somehow, and this is not 100% of the time, but they will somehow make it your fault. Or like if you're in a store or something and something happens, they don't take you aside whenever you complain. No, the people behind you in the line will start getting angry at you, like it's your fault, when it's not your fault that whatever is happening is happening. Okay, let me give an example. This is on my mind because this morning I wound up calling a corporate office for something that happened this past weekend. Okay, of a place. I called their corporate office, like I told them I was going to. I have an app for this store, and it takes so many dollars off, and it gives some rewards and all this stuff. You know, you build up points, I think it is, and it's kind of relatively new to me. And, you know, you build up these points, and you get free this or that or whatever. But you also get dollars off. You know, a coupon kind of thing is what their corporate office called it. But anyway, I was in there, and in this store, and they said their machine wasn't working. Well, I've heard that before, that there's machines, so you're not going to be able to use the app, so you're not going to get your points, and you're not going to be, you know, as far as the rewards, a coupon kind of thing they call it, they actually just type it in, the amount, and click coupon on their, you know, on their register. This place I went to, it's the same one as the other ones. They didn't know what to do. They caused a problem because people started piling up behind me, and they had 3 registered, and I was the only one open, and there was a young woman, cashier, just standing there. You know, she finally went over to one, opening it up so other people, and of course the first person was, you know, kind of like about me, you know, making me aware that he was a guy around my age, thought I was being ridiculous. It was something like $3, okay? And then the point wasn't the $3. I'm not poor. Okay, the point was the principle of the matter. How many of us grew up hearing that? Principle of the matter. We never liked it, maybe, and then now we understand it better. Maybe that was just me. But, yeah. So, I was trying to tell them they need to learn this, you know. I'm not saying you need to learn this. I'm just saying, well, what do you do whenever that's the case? They didn't know. Okay, so I said, what about a manager? And the assistant manager walked up behind me. And she was very young, and she said, well, I'm going to go call my manager. She went to call her manager, and she never came back. I was there for, several other customers went through the line, and I could tell she wasn't coming back. And I wasn't going to stand there forever in a day. So I told him, I said, I wanted your, the cashier, I told him, I said, I want your, corporate office's phone number. He says it's on the receipt. I said, good. But anyway, it took a while. The machine was still not even accepting my credit card. It kept going around and around, and finally it did. But there was nothing wrong with the credit card, just to make that, certain. But what it was is their machine was acting up on that too. But I don't know why it didn't act up on the other customers, but that register must have been bad, the whole setup. So I left from there, and I got all their names and everything, and that was Saturday or Sunday, I don't know. But I called them finally this morning when I was thinking about this video. I had forgotten to call them because I was going to call them Monday. They're not open on the weekends. So I called their corporate office, and I told the woman, and here's the cute part to this one. Just say this. Whenever I go to any business, it's always young people working there. What happened to older people? My experience in like convenience stores or any kind of any kind of stores is often that there's at least somebody my age, and my age I am now, and they were that age when they back then. Now it's mainly young people, and I'm not saying that all young people do this or anything like that, but it's more of a person who has experience in this teaching people who are new to this. You see what I'm saying? I'm not trying. The person could be in their 30s and they've worked, 10, 15 years in this kind of business, but they need to have that experience. But instead, it's not that way. Not too often. Called their corporate office. It was a young woman. Some say, how do you know by her voice? It was a young woman. And she, I told her the story. She said, well, I will, make sure I send it over to the managers. Okay, I don't know what the difference was, but anyway, she was agreeing with me. She said, yeah, our policy is that, because it could be, because I said, I always hated hearing this. It could be false advertisement. I never like people to say that, but it's true. And she said, yes, we always give a coupon, which is what they call it, like I said, however much dollars off, they just type it in. She said that is our policy to do that. And she said, so yes, she was agreeing with me that they were wrong. They should not have done that. And the management should have known what to do. The cashier should have known what to do. So she said she would report it over to the managers. And now this is the thing I've learned what to do. Now, all the while, I couldn't hear her typing. And usually you can hear somebody typing whenever you call their complaint office, anybody's complaint office, they're typing it all up. So she wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't hearing any of that. So then and this is what I've learned to do. I said, okay, now how do I call and follow up on this? Who do I call? She said, well, I thought you wanted me to take it and send it over. I said, yes, I want you to take it and send it over. And she started telling me how the process works. But she sounded kind of nervous. And I said, well, who do I call? She said, well, you would have to speak to the managers. I said, okay, well, who do I call? It was like she did not want to give me that. And I said, because I'm going to call and follow up to make sure they got this message and see what they've done about it. Well, okay, the number is, and she gave me a phone number to the district manager, which I don't know why that would be the phone number to a district manager. That's nowhere near here. But the area code? Yeah, area code. So anyway, so then all of a sudden I heard her typing like really fast. It made me wonder. See, I can be like a conspiracy theorist. Or is that social observation? Okay, it's observation. But because usually you hear it all the while, but she's suddenly doing at the end. Yeah, it was funny timing. Really, that's what it was, funny timing. But she said that she would give it to him, and within the next couple of days, he'll have resolved the issue, and so forth. Now, that's what I've learned to do. I've learned to say that I will be calling back to verify that it was received by the management and see what they were doing about it. I never do. But I don't work for them. I reported something, and hopefully they'll actually do something about it. Say I never call back to find out, but really often I forget. I don't know that I ever have. I think one time, because the next time I went to that place, it was happening again. It was still happening, actually twice after that, it was still happening. The third time I just flat out told them, you lost my business because this is ridiculous. And it was something that it wasn't just something that offended me. I've actually seen all these things happen to other people. You see, it's not just me. That would be a problem. And it's not just every place that I've ever been to. You know, I say that could be a problem, but for some it can't be. It really depends on where you live and what kind of, what's the culture there, what's the mentality all around. Okay, it would be rare that every place you ever go to something bad happens. That's rare, but it can happen. Yeah, it can. What I'm saying is, you know, how do you legally and how do you within the system, not going, like I said, outlaw on it, and do it safely, is to complain and to make changes. It's making waves. I have this notepad. I was writing notes down on it this morning about this, and I wrote "make waves," and the notepad says "make waves," and I wasn't connecting that together. But yeah, that's another little squirrel moment. I just checked it and all my notes, and I have mentioned all of them. Every little point I wrote down. But yeah, you know, how many people who are so much enjoying blaming it on somebody else are actually doing something about it? Now, I don't know how in the world you would do something by saying, you know, to change the whole thought of, oh, it's the baby boomers' fault. Well, that just needs to be changed, because no, that's a prejudice there. Okay, it's always the baby boomers' fault. How? Are you an adult? I don't know the ages of, I think all of the baby boomers are adults now, aren't they? I believe so. So you're an adult. You recognize a problem and you don't change it within yourself. It's not somebody else's fault that you don't change it. You can change it. You know, if you can, if it's not impossible to change. Some things are impossible to change. I know, I'm well aware of that. But yeah, just to sit back and blame somebody else, not a good idea. No, it doesn't say much about you as a person, really. Or, you know, blame all the Gen X, blame all the millennials. This is not good. Not good at all to blame all of that. All nothing thinking, that whole prejudicial kind of prejudices, you know, to blame this. And the whole thing of blaming all the liberals. How is it the liberals are all at fault with everything either? Seriously, I wonder why people pick. Did the liberals ever say, you know, it's all the conservatives' fault? Like, it's if that's the only two, like I said. It's not. But why? What are you doing? Are you stepping up and making a change, like I said, legally? And not going outlaw within the system? Are you doing anything besides just complaining? Yeah, like I said, I'm not totally innocent of all this. I've done my fair share over. I'm not as bad, like I said. But there are times I feel like that, you know, oh, these corporations, they're all out to get us. Well, my more recent thing is, but see, I really don't believe that way. Okay, that's the point. But my recent thing is, I'm tired of the media. I don't care, I'm not the media, but, well, the news. I don't care what side they're on or whatever. It's nothing really new. I see that they're just spinning it their own way. I want the truth. I want to see it all for myself and make my own decisions. That's been me for, I don't know, forever. But lately I've been really focusing on that. But I'm not doing it, honestly, not as a conspiracy theory. We all know that they're going to have some kind of bias. I don't know anybody who is biased and free, but the agendas, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. Although I would like to show you that store, but on the other side, it's hard to see when I'm driving down the road. Anyway, that's a vlog mixed with the topic. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you on another